Good afternoon. Welcome to Jupiter First Church. It is a great honor to have you here and an amazingly great honor to welcome Dr. Roby George and the Orchid City Brass Band. Please give them a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our holiday program, The Night Before Christmas, featuring the Orchid City Brass Band under the direction of conductor Dr. Roby George. My name is Michael McMullen, and I will be your host for the program this afternoon. We hope that your season will be filled with joy and peace. We opened our concert with A Christmas Festival by Leroy Anderson, arranged for brass band by James Wood. Anderson was one of the most popular composers of light orchestral music in America from about 1938 until his death in 1975. His name is forever linked with Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops, for whom he composed many famous works, including The Typewriter, Bugler's Holiday, and The Syncopated Clock. However, he is probably most famous for his Christmas compositions. A Christmas Festival was composed in 1950 for the Boston Pops and features a number of well-loved Christmas carols. Our next piece is a carol from the Renaissance that became a hit single by a British folk rock band in the 1970s. Gaudete first appeared in the Pie Canciones, a collection of Finnish Swedish sacred songs published in 1582. The text of the refrain, "Rejoice, rejoice, child is born of the Virgin Mary, rejoice," is set to a lively dance-like tune. In 1973, almost 400 years later, the English folk group Steely Span had a hit, number 14 on the UK singles chart, with an a cappella recording of the song. Band guitarist Bob Johnson heard the song when he first attended a folk carol service with his father-in-law in Cambridge and brought it to the attention of the rest of the band. Since then, world-class ensembles such as the King's Singers and Tenebrae have recorded their own versions for Christmas albums. Today we present an exciting arrangement for brass band by Alan Fernie of Gaudete. Dr. Clement C. Moore never expected that he would be remembered for his poetry. He just liked writing it for his children. He was born in a house near Chelsea Square, New York City in 1781, and he lived there all his life. It was a great big house with fireplaces in it, just the house to be living on Christmas Eve. One year, he wrote a poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, to give to his children for a Christmas present. They read it just after they had hung up their stockings before one of the big fireplaces in their house. Afterward, they learned it, and sometimes recited it, just as other children learn it and recite it now. It was printed in a newspaper, then a magazine printed it, and after a time, it was printed in the school readers. Later, it was printed by itself, with pictures. Then it was translated into German, French, and many other languages. Now almost all the children in the world know Dr. Moore's poem. Anthony Di Lorenzo's "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" combines this famous poem with familiar musical styles and tunes, along with original material to tell this classic story. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while the visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our braids for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew in a flash, threw open the shutters and tore off the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wandering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, Prowler and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the house, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up on the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. And I drew in my head and was turning around. Down the chimney came Nicholas round. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkle, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up in a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe was held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." We seem to have started a tradition of programming arrangements of choral music for our holiday program. Last year, we performed Eric Whitaker's Lux Arumque. Today, we present Philip Littlemore's arrangement for brass band of the moving O Magnum Mysterium by Morton Lauritsen. When the Los Angeles Master Chorale commissioned Morton Lauritsen's setting of O Magnum Mysterium in 1994, few people anticipated that it would launch the acclaimed composer's career. It was at that very first concert that music director Paul Salomonovich told the audience, "Until now, Vittoria's O Magnum Mysterium has been the most beautiful and well-recognized setting of this text composed to date. I predict that will change after this night." Within a few years, the work garnered widespread praise and remains one of Lauritsen's most beloved choral works. While it is performed all year round, this piece is, at its heart, all about Christmas. The text tells of the story of the birth of Jesus, and Lauritsen's music is as sensitive and spiritual as you could wish for. As the composer himself has said, "I wanted this piece to resonate immediately and deeply into the core of the listener, to illumine through sound." Wainwright is a highly respected composer, arranger, and journalist whose music is performed internationally by brass bands, orchestras, wind bands, and choirs. Among his many awards, in July 2023, Andrew was the winner of the Grimethorpe Colliery Band's first annual composition competition with his piece, Fallen Souls. In November 2012, a CD of his music was released by Virtuosi GUS Band entitled Christmas Fantasia, the music of Andrew Wainwright. Music critic Paul Hindmarsh described his Christmas Fantasia as a Salvation Army-style selection, the kind of fusing of familiar carols Andrew has learned well. This descriptive work features a combination of Christmas carols, both familiar and lesser known. Noël Nouvelet, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, A Great and Mighty Wonder, also known as Lo, How a Rose Ere Blooming, the Old Basque Noel, The Infant King, the dance-like Tomorrow Shall Be My Dancing Day, and the Gregorian hymn of the Father's Heart Begotten. To close out the first half of our program today, here is Andrew Wainwright's A Christmas Fantasia. Are you enjoying the program today? We're so happy to be here, and we hope to see you at some of our upcoming concerts. If you will look on the back of your program, you'll see the listings for the rest of our season. In January, we'll be performing as part of the concert series at St. Mary's in Stewart with a program of chamber music for brass. In March 22nd, This Is a Brass Band will feature as our special guest trombonist, multi-instrumentalist, and arranger Tom Bones Malone. And we will wind up our season in April 21st with Once Upon a Song, an emotion-filled program of the most memorable, majestic, and moving melodies ever written. We hope to see you at some of our upcoming concerts. We would also like to give special thanks today to Jupiter First Church for having us here. Let me introduce to you our host, Pastor Chip, who has a few words to say.
Hello. So there are people walking down the aisles right now, and they have baskets because we are taking up an offering to offset the cost of bringing you this amazing event. And you might be saying, oh no, Pastor Chip, I didn't bring my wallet. I've got good news for you. Through the wonders of modern technology, grab your phone, scan that QR code, and then select Orchid City Brass Band, and you can give online magically. So while the baskets are going around, I want to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up at Jupiter First Church. Exactly 7 days from right now, we will be having our Christmas Eve service. 3, 5, and 7 p.m. This will be a candlelit service. There will be brass, there will be strings, percussion, and our choir will be here. It is an amazing service. I welcome you to join us. Then, on January 20th, we are welcoming author, speaker, artist Scott Erickson for a special one-man show, Say Yes, a liturgy of not giving up on yourself. When intermission comes, which is soon, you can make a right turn and go to the restrooms, but you can make a left turn and go down the hallway, and there is art and devotions through QR code from Scott Erickson, so check them out. Next, coming up on December 31st, we are welcoming world-renowned dementia care expert Teepa Snow. If there is such thing as a rock star of dementia care, it would be Teepa Snow. If you know anyone who is struggling with dementia, you're caring for someone with dementia, you have friends who are doing so, bring them to this event of informative, entertaining, empowering. So, I see the baskets are still moving through. Here's what's happening. You go straight ahead, there's coffee in the narthex. You go to the left, there's art. You go to the right, there's restrooms. And in 15 minutes, promptly, we will resume the amazing show.
Welcome back for the second half of our holiday concert. We start with another selection from the CD Christmas Fantasia, the music of Andrew Wainwright. Rio Rio Chu is a Spanish villancico that has attained some contemporary fame as a Christmas carol. Now, what is a villancico, or villancico, you may ask? Well, derived from medieval dance forms, the 15th century Spanish villancico was a type of popular song sung in the vernacular and frequently associated with rustic themes. Religious villancicos, most of, but not all of which are associated with Christmas, gained popularity in the second half of the 16th century in Spain and its colonies in Latin America. The nonsense syllables Rio Rio Chu are said to have several different meanings. Some say they are the song of a nightingale or a kingfisher, while others say they represent the call of a shepherd guarding his sheep. Rio Rio Chu has been performed by many traditional choral groups, ranging from Chanticleer to the King's College Choir. But did you know that it was also recorded by the Kingston Trio on the 1961 album Goin' Places under the title Guardo el Lobo? It was even performed by the Monkees. Anybody remember them? On their Christmas special in 1967, and was later included on their holiday album Christmas Party in 2018. Here is Andrew Wainwright's Spanish carol, Rio Rio Chu. The Huron Carol is Canada's oldest original Christmas carol, written by the Jesuit missionary Jean de Brébeuf in 1643. The melody comes from the traditional French carol, A Young Maid, but the lyrics that describe Christ's birth were set in the Huron-Wendat language. An English translation appeared in the 1920s that places the child in a lodge of broken bark, wrapped in a robe of rabbit skin. He is surrounded by hunters instead of shepherds, and the Magi are portrayed as chiefs from afar who bring him fox and beaver pelts instead of the more familiar gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Often celebrated as the first Canadian Christmas carol and received as an example of Indigenous heritage, it has been recorded many times and is a Christmas concert staple. It inspired at least 4 illustrated picture books and was even honored in Canada with a national series of postage stamps in 1977. Now, sometimes people like to shake things up a little bit, so if you look at your program, you're going to see one person listen to the soloist, but our 2 soloists decided to switch songs today. So, featured today on this lovely arrangement by Kevin Nurberry is our principal cornetist, Dr. Pamela Smitter. we know, not all Christmas songs are about, well, Christmas. Winter Wonderland is one of those romantic songs set in the heart of winter. So naturally, it was adopted by singers when recording albums of holiday music. It is also unusual in that it was actually written during this winter. Most holiday songs are composed in the summer prior to the Christmas season to allow time for recording and marketing. The lyricist, Dick Smith, was inspired by the sight of the snow-covered park in his hometown of Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and the tune was composed by Felix Bernard. It became a hit for Guy Lombardo's orchestra in 1934 and has been a favorite of the season ever since. Sadly, neither Smith nor Bernard lived long enough to enjoy the immense fame that song would take on after World War II. Our arrangement today comes from the pen of brass band legend Philip Spark. The song is another of those famous Christmas songs in which the snow can safely be admired from here in South Florida. As I mentioned, Christmas songs are generally written during the summer in order to get recorded in time for the holiday season. For example, the first piece we played tonight, Leroy Anderson's A Christmas Festival, was completed in June 1950. Well, it was during a particularly hot summer in 1944 when a young Mel Torme and lyricist Bob Wells were just trying to stay cool by thinking cool, took a few images of Christmas, chestnuts resting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, and polished off one of the most enduring classics in just 40 minutes. Nat King Cole recorded the song 3 different times and had a hit with each version. Torme himself also recorded the song several times, the last being in 1992. Well, we don't have Nat King Cole or Mel Torme to sing for you today, but we do have our wonderful cornetist Rick Shaw, who will be featured on Philip Sparks' arrangement of the Christmas song. Well, as much as we'd love to play for you all afternoon, we've come to our final selection. Before I introduce it, let me say thank you again for attending our concert tonight, and we hope to see you at future performances. Our one in March is particularly interesting with Tom Bones Malone, who was an original member of the Blues Brothers Band and played on both the David Letterman and Tonight Show bands. To keep up with us, we hope that you will add your name to our contact list. And you can also find us online at orchidcitybrass.org, or on Twitter at Orchid City Brass, or on Facebook. Just search Orchid City Brass and you'll find us out there on the internet. Our closing selection comes from the pen of Stephen Bulla, who was the chief arranger for the President's own Marine Corps Band in Washington, D.C. for 30 years, composing music for the Marine Band, which performed at White House events, including presidential inaugurations, state funerals, and state visits. Upon Bulla's retirement from the Marine Band, composer John Williams cited him as one of the most accomplished musicians of his generation. He also composed many pieces exclusively for the Salvation Army and conducted the National Capital Band of the Salvation Army for 15 years. His overture, The Proclamation of Christmas, was originally written as a show opener for one of the Salvation Army's spectacular annual Christmas Carol concerts in London and had its premiere at the Royal Albert Hall. The Proclamation of Christmas is an extended work that features a number of popular Christmas tunes, including Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Ding Dong Merrily on High, and The First Noel. There are also some slightly lesser well-known tunes that are linked to the carols While Shepherds Walk Their Flocks and Angels from the Realms of Glory. And the piece concludes with the final flourish from O Come, All Ye Faithful. Thank you for your warm response. We always enjoy visiting Jupiter First Church, and we hope to see you at our future concerts. For now, on behalf of myself, Conductor Roby George, and the entire Orchid City Brass Band, we wish you a Merry Christmas.